Hi and welcome back to Morgan Reach TV. Today for episode 43, as we edge closer to the 2026 local elections, we're here today to look at the battle for Alum Rock. Our guest is someone who knows these streets inside out. Nosheen Khalid is a local businesswoman, a community advocate who spent years as a dedicated member of the Labour Party, but recently she made a move that changed everything. She walked away from the party to stand as an independent. For Nosheen, this is about putting Alum Rock before party politics. She's trading the party line for grassroots accountability, arguing that a ward needs a voice that answers to the residents and not a political machine. Today we're diving into her journey from insider to independent. We'll talk about why she left Labour, her plan to clean up our neighbourhoods, and why she believes Alum Rock's future must be independent. So please welcome to the show, Nosheen Khalid.
Assalamualaikum.
How you doing?
Good, alhamdulillah. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
For us, it's all right, but for you, you're in the middle of a very busy period at the moment.
Very busy. But we always take out time for things.
No, fantastic. Now, I know that we had been trying to get this arranged for a while, so it's given the opportunity to meet.
It's actually perfect time now.
Yeah, that's it, exactly. And hopefully, you can say your story and people can get to know you better for who you are and your background and things. So, it's hopefully beneficial for you.
Hopefully.
But no, so you're standing for councillor at Alum Rock?
Yes, I am.
And May 7th is the election?
7th of May. 8th of May is the results.
8th of May is the results. Yeah. Okay, so that's going to be a
sleepless night.
I was going to say. It's going to be a long night. Yeah. You probably won't sleep, will you? You'll probably be waiting for the council to come in.
I'm not going to sleep.
Yeah. It's been a big run-up, hasn't it?
It has. I started my campaign back in July last year.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So that's a long run. Yeah. And it's very competitive this year, isn't it?
Depends who you ask.
And which ward you're in, I guess.
Which ward you're in.
Yeah.
It's been an interesting election this time round. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of different players that you probably wouldn't normally see involved in local elections.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's a lot more interest than there normally is for a multitude of reasons that I'm sure we'll get into.
That's it, exactly. That's what I was thinking now then. Yeah. So you're born and bred Birmingham?
Yes.
And you've always lived around the Alum Rock area?
Yeah, so I was, my granddad came in the early 50s.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah,
very early.
To Birmingham.
Yeah.
Actually straight to Alum Rock.
Yeah.
Edmund Road. Wow. And back then it was houses with like multiple men living in and learning to cook and survive and all the rest of it before the wives came over. Yeah. And my dad was born in Birmingham, Alum Rock.
Oh, wow.
And so was I, and so were all my siblings. And so we set up businesses in Alum Rock, and so our family roots it's home. We haven't known anything other than Alum Rock.
Yeah, so literally born and bred. Third generation now.
Third generation.
Yeah, awesome.
And my kid's fourth now. So,
yeah. Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. Kids now. So, as a youngster, what was it like growing up in Alum Rock in Birmingham?
It was so much fun. We used to have youth centres. We used to have the library that we used to go to. Used to ride bikes around and water fights with the neighbours and silly things like knock door run, and which probably shouldn't be admitting, but knocking the neighbours' doors and running off. And it was just the best. There was so much to do. I'm not going to paint over the cracks. There were obviously issues. There were obviously, there was violence and there were drugs, but it was things that existed in microcosms and they didn't fall over into normal people's lives.
Yeah, normal family
life at all. It didn't spill over. It was things that we knew existed and we knew where they existed. And sometimes you would see police or you would see things like that. And I guess I've normalized it a little bit because I didn't know anything else. I didn't know that you can move 20 minutes down the road to Boston and not see police every couple of days. So for me, it was normal to see, something's happened down the road or whatever. But it was fun and there was a real sense of community. Yeah.
And the community's grown so much, haven't they?
It has. And it's changed a lot. Well. It's changed a lot. We had one main masjid and now we have so many. But we used to have places where we knew all the local children on the street because I grew up on Wright Road, which is actually where my dad spent most of his teenage years also. And we had Hutton Hall, which was a youth centre. And so we would go there, the boys would play football. We would go inside and play with whatever it was, or football if the boys would let us, which was very, very rare. And we would know everyone on the street. In the summer, you'd have street-wide water fights. You know, my dad would stick the hose out the garage window, and, you know, we'd get an advantage over everyone else because we'd just squirt them all with the hose, you know, whilst they had buckets that they were trying to fill water guns up with. But that seems to have been lost now. We don't have that. My nephews and nieces, my children don't have that same experience. They don't know the children on their street unless they go to the same school as them. So it's lost its sense of community, not by choice, but because of the way the world has become.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when you were growing up, was it mainly kind of Muslim community with the mainly Asian?
It wasn't massively diverse.
Yeah.
But, you know, we had friends, we had white people on the street, we had black people on the street, and we knew all of them. And my next door neighbour, Charlie, his wife used to knit us dolls for Christmas, and we would take over like biscuit tins and stuff, and Peter across the road would come and he would use snow spray because we had a corner shop. So he would decorate the windows with snow spray for us on Christmas. And it was a really nice, inclusive community. And it still is. The demographic has changed.
Yeah.
You know, we have a large Romanian community now, and we have a large Afghan community now. Yeah. So the demographic has changed. But the sense of togetherness still exists. Yeah.
No, that's really good. And obviously you've seen the expansion of the Alum Rock Road.
Yeah.
And the changes and the bigger supermarkets and things.
Yeah.
And is it a hell of a lot busier now?
It's a hell of a lot busier. I think I was reading some of the economic output of Alum Rock is £205 million a year.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and you know, it's the second most ticketed. It was at one point the most ticketed high street in the UK.
Really?
Yeah. It's upward of £500,000 a year it generates in parking tickets.
Bloody hell.
Yeah. And it's got the most craziest parking rules I've ever heard. So you have an hour on one side between certain times, an hour on the other side between certain times. It makes
completely different.
It makes no sense. Never seen it anywhere else, but it generates the money.
Yeah,
where does the money go? We don't know, but it generates it.
But it doesn't actually. The ticket sales, on that. Sorry, not ticket sales. The ticket fines.
Yeah,
they don't actually go to Birmingham City Council.
No, they
don't go to central government. They go down to government pot.
Yeah,
and then.
But that also trickles down, right? To local authorities.
We hope so.
Yeah,
that's obviously where the budgets come from. I suppose.
Where the budgets come from. Yeah,
that's it. But so as growing up, so you kind of had a pretty good childhood then, a family orientated childhood. And then what line of work did you go into? What did you go into?
So I studied law.
Okay.
Yeah, I studied at the University of Birmingham.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
So local.
I stayed local. We didn't have much choice back then. I was like, Mum, I want to go to London. And Mum was like, I don't think so.
Yeah.
staying in Birmingham. But no, so I was actually the first in my family to go to university because I'm the eldest from both sides.
I was about to say, where are you in the family?
I'm the eldest.
So eldest, okay.
Eldest. So I was there to break all the rules.
Yeah.
Bend all the rules, push all the limits. And I'm happy to do that.
Yeah.
I've always been happy to do that. So yeah. But my mum was very encouraging. She insisted that all of us get a higher education of sorts. Yeah. She's very keen and very, very very vocal about the importance of education for all of us. So she pushed us into that. But yeah, I studied law, but then I didn't really practice. Yeah. Whilst I was at university, started a business and went from there, really.
Brilliant. Yeah. Well, what did you do?
So I used to go to Dubai a lot back then.
Okay.
Yeah, and I remember I was talking to a friend. I had a lot of friends out there, and I was talking to a friend of mine, and we were talking about the Emirati ladies and how they all have their tailors and they have these gorgeous abayas, and we don't, and she was like, why don't we start a brand? And I was like, oh my God, that sounds fantastic. And back then, there were only 2 abaya brands in the UK, Inaya and Arb. And so I went out there. I'm not very good at drawing, but my mum's amazing. And so I had all these ideas in my head. And I said, Mum, can you draw this? So she sketched some designs for me, literally a sheaf of papers.
Yeah.
Packed my bag, went to Dubai, went around Sharjah, found a tailor, set up a contract with him, set up a workshop, got my first samples made.
Awesome.
Found a web designer in Belgium, bit his ear off for about 4 months, and then launched. And actually, I remember I was on the way back from Dubai with my samples, and I was just at the departure gate And I got a call from a UK number. I was like, who's calling me? And I answered, and it was Channel 4. And they were like, well, this was when modest fashion was kicking off. And I'd Instagram was new, Twitter was new. And I was quite big on Twitter and quite big on Instagram with my brand. And they'd seen the notice. And they said, we'd love to feature your launch as a documentary about modest fashion. And they did, and they came and they recorded it, and that was that. And then I was like, do I need to get a job? Probably not.
Wow.
Do I want to practice law? No, I want to do this.
Yeah. Okay. So it's straight out of uni, you carried on doing that full time.
Yeah.
Okay. And how long did that kind of carry on for?
So that was for a few years, and then I sold that business.
Oh, brilliant.
And then I concentrated on my kids.
Yeah, I was going to say the family life took over.
My family life took over.
Yeah.
But it was really good as my first kind of to, I had a few hiccups with it. I remember my tailor, we were at Modest Fashion Week in London. And the week before, the host for Modest Fashion Week wanted to wear one of my designs. And the week before, somebody that I'd employed out there went to the workshop, and the workshop was shut down. And an Emirati man from Dubai had poached my tailor, and they'd shut the workshop down and gone. And so my second collection, I had a bunch of samples, and that was it. And I couldn't do any orders or anything. But I'm a very resourceful woman. Just got on the flight, went there, and I found another one in LA and set up a new one and started again. But that was something that I wouldn't have been able to do once I, with the little kids and all the rest of it. So it was best to kind of move on from that. It was my first baby.
Yeah, business fantastic. Yeah. So how amazing to see it from beginning to end.
Yeah.
You got a sale out of it as well.
Yeah, I did.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So you finished law off, and so you never really practiced, or you didn't need to?
No.
Yeah.
I didn't. And I don't think I ever would have. I think I'm very much a person that likes to do things my way, and I don't know if the rigidity of like a law, like a career like that would have been for me. Yeah. And I like to be around people, and I like to do things that are a bit more dynamic and, be my own boss, really. So yeah. Being the bigger sister as well. Yes.
Yeah, I'm used to getting
my
too. Yeah.
Definitely.
So what led you to be business orientated? Do you think it was your family?
I think it was my family. Yeah. You don't really realize what pushes you towards these things until you reach maybe my age, and you look back and you realize the impact. Because when you're young, you think, I am the bee's knees and I'm doing everything because I've decided I'm doing it. Yeah. But actually, when you look back at your life and you look at all the influencing factors and the people that had an impact on you that you didn't quite realize had an impact on you. Yeah. My granddad and grandma started opened a grocery shop back in, I want to say maybe the 70s or 80s. In the UK, and actually my grandma's family all have, that's their business, that's their line of work, quite well-known chains of supermarket. And my other grandma, Jenna, she passed away, and my granddad was like, right, we're going to sell everything up and I'm going to go buy some horses and move to Pakistan. Get rid of it all, I'm not working anymore. But she was the brains behind it, and she was actually a very, very strong woman who could stand her own in front of anyone, men, women, it doesn't matter. And she was the brains behind everything. And I think maybe I was influenced by her, even though I was very little when she passed away. But you hear stories,
Of course you do.
And those stories have an impact because you create role models for yourself, maybe without realizing. And so my family have always been in business. My mum, my dad was in his mid-20s, went to Pakistan for the first time in his life, and became paralyzed, completely fit and healthy, something called Guillain-Barré syndrome, which is quite a rare condition, overnight. And so my mum had to become the breadwinner. Yeah. And my mum had taken herself to university and become an ESOL teacher, so English for speakers of other languages. Yeah.
I remember all that. ESOL stuff, yeah.
So she converted the shop into like a centre. Yeah. And hired out classrooms and taught herself and ran the household like an absolute legend. Didn't miss a beat. Looked after my dad until he was nursed back to health. Yeah. And and so when you're surrounded by women like that, taking a sheaf of papers, getting on a flight to Dubai and with a dream, doesn't sound too far-fetched.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah.
And obviously they'll support you. Your mom gave you the designs.
Yeah.
But were they like, oh no, don't go to Dubai on your own. Don't do this and that.
No.
They're very
The first
supportive.
time I went for a holiday,
Yeah.
you know,
So you got
just
a bit
got to
familiar
rip the
with it.
Band-Aid off, right? haven't
Yeah,
you?
that's
So the
it.
first time I went for a holiday, it was very much like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Do you need to go? And I was like, I've got friends. What friends that you met on Twitter?
Yeah.
You're going to see some strangers that are going to kidnap you. And I was like, no, actually, no. And I'm going to have fun. And so the first time I went was really difficult. You know, I'm from a traditional Kashmiri family.
Yeah.
You know, we have certain rules and certain kind of social norms.
Etiquettes kind of thing.
Yeah. And a girl, a 20-something-year-old getting on a flight to Dubai in the early 2000s. It's not, you know, it wasn't the norm back then. Now it's fine.
Yeah.
But it's fine because of people that took that first step, right?
Yeah.
So the first time I went, it was like, and then after that, they were like, well, she goes, what can we really do? So no, they were really supportive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're going for business, weren't
I'm
you?
going for business, and everybody helped with the launch. Everybody was fantastic.
Awesome.
You know, my halas and everyone, they're driving me around like a crazy person to make sure everything is done on time. And the bit in between when my tailor disappeared and I was going to release like a summer collection.
Yeah.
One of my halas, who I love dearly, she's like a second mother to me. I sourced the material from here and she put the collection together for me. She sewed it all. She was like, "Here you go,
brilliant.
go launch it. We're not going to miss a beat here. We're going to continue going.
Get you back up on your feet.
Get me back up on my feet.
Back in Dubai.
Yeah,
Yeah, awesome. So your entrepreneurial family led for you, because you know what you're saying about influences. Cause, that's what all the studies show, isn't it? If you're on the other side of the coin, if it's a negative influence, if things happen that are negative, even though someone doesn't realise it, it does profoundly affect their life and their kind of trajectory. So
we're a family that take knockbacks in our stride. You know, very resilient, very positive. You know, we're Muslim. We believe that Allah takes control of everything.
That's it.
And you have to have hope.
Yeah.
And your risk is from Him. No one can take it away from you.
And everything happens for a reason.
Everything happens for a reason. And you just have to keep going. You just keep going.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. No, fantastic. So you finished the business.
Yeah.
So here you are in was this late 20s now?
28.
Late 20s. Yeah,
28.
late 20s. And then your family chapter.
Yes.
Charter started.
Yeah.
And then how many, you got four children now?
3 kids.
3 kids.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've got 3 kids. My eldest is 17.
17, wow.
Yeah, my eldest is 17. He's going to be going to university in September. I'm like, please stay in Birmingham.
Yeah.
He's like, Mum, I'm going to go as far away
Is he?
as I possibly can.
Is he still in application mode? Or is he going
so he's
September?
just waiting for a final offer because he obviously waited to the last moment to apply.
Of course.
Yeah, so he's waiting for from a London university, and he's got his eyes set on either London or Durham, and he's like, I'm going to go to one of them, Mum. And he's like, Mum, you haven't influenced me, but I'm doing politics and international relations. I'm like, okay, I'll check back in 20 years to ask you who's influenced you. He's like, this has absolutely nothing to do with you. Yeah. I have on my own,
I'm the business,
off my own back,
man.
decided that politics is a particular interest of mine. I was like, of course it's got nothing to do with your mum that's been involved in politics for the past 15 years, or your granddad who was a counsellor. No, nothing to do with any of that.
But that's fantastic. So you've done, obviously, you raised your kids.
Yeah.
And then when did the politics start? Because you just touched upon it then.
Yeah, so the politics, also, this is a conversation I had with my dad the other day. And I was like, oh, I'm really, And he's like, you do know you started because of me? And I was like, no, I never. What are you talking about? And he's like, do you not remember? And I was like, obviously my dad was a counsellor. So
really? Okay.
My dad was a local counsellor for Alum Rock, actually.
Yeah, okay.
Back in early 2000s.
Yeah.
So, and he was a counsellor originally for the Justice Party, which was actually, it's actually really a full circle moment. So the Justice Party was born out of a kind of protest against the Labour Party.
Okay.
After, around that hostile environment for Muslims.
It was kind of the Afghan Iraq kind of era,
and
wasn't it?
actually, I'm only just realising this right now.
Yeah.
But this is a very full circle moment. He left, so he was a counsellor for the Justice Party, and he won. He de-seated the Labour incumbent, and became a counsellor for Alum Rock. He only did 1 term. His health obviously played a part in that.
Yeah.
And then I used to help him with everything. I used to go to his meetings with him, and back then there were a lot of grants and things like that. So they used to give like kettles and toasters for people in Alum Rock, and we hired out Hutton Hall where we used to have the youth centre.
Yeah.
And then everybody from Alum Rock came, and we'd give out all these. It was the bane of my mum's existence, because we used to have these kettles and toasters in the back half of the shop, and she was like, "Get rid of these." So then, because first we had people knocking the door and taking them, and then the dad was like, Mum has given the warning. So we booked this hall, and he's put out this message, and everybody came and took them, and we got rid of them all. And we were heavily involved in everything that he used to do. I remember going around on the speakers in the cars saying, "Box number 3, Khalid Mahmood." I remember on the playground telling people, "Tell your mum and dad to vote for my dad." So that's where it started. And I've always been involved. I've always kind of volunteered when it comes to canvassing or things like that. But I officially joined the Labour Party in 2015 under Jeremy Corbyn. Because I felt like his politics and his ideals aligned with mine, and what I, coming from a working class background, very much entrenched in community, that was very much who I was. And obviously his stance on more international issues such as Palestine was something that such as not this kind of anti-colonialist kind of stance that he had. It's something that an anti-imperialist was something that I completely agreed with. My parents and my family wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the atrocities that took place due to the time that the British India Company went to Pakistan and India, well, what is now Pakistan, and the arbitrary lines that were drawn in the sand and that split nations apart. If it wasn't for that, we wouldn't be here.
Your granddad wouldn't have come in.
My granddad wouldn't have come here. He wouldn't have come here. And so those were things that really resonated with me. So I did join the Labour Party back then. And then here we are today.
That's it. So, did you say? Sorry, did I hear you right before? Your granddad was a councillor as well, or was
no,
your dad?
My dad
so your dad was a councillor. So sorry, I think I misunderstood before. But so your dad was a councillor. So you're kind of carrying on taking the flag forward. So you're with the Labour Party from 2015. When did you leave?
So I allowed my membership to lapse in 2023, just because I couldn't reconcile. I mean, it wasn't going the right way anyway. Right? It wasn't going the right way anyway. But, a hard line was drawn in the sand when Keir Starmer said that Israel has a right to withhold food and water. Right? At that point, you have to say, is this a party I can ethically, morally, in any capacity feel that I'm aligned with, that speaks for me, speaks for what I understand to be right and good. And, I know people say, there were other wars, but actually not whilst I was a member of the Labour Party, and not whilst Labour was in government, at the very least, right? And so, and I've always been, I did the walkout of college in the Iraq War and all of that. And I've always been politically inclined. I've always felt like I should stand on the right side of history, regardless of what the consequences of that might be, So it's not like I stayed quiet. And even whilst I was part of the Labour Party, actually, I was going through my Facebook today because I've just started accepting everyone. And my friend was like, do you want to get rid of your personal stuff off your Facebook? So I was going through my Facebook, pictures of family and things like that. Because you just don't know, do you? So I've been subject to a lot of abuse from reform and restore supporters more than anything else. And I thought, just to be on the safe side, I want to protect people that I care about. And as I was going through it, all I could see was me just lambasting the Labour Party and Labour MPs and Labour councillors whilst I was a member of the Labour Party. So I've never been shy to call people out.
You've always been outspoken. You've not been
I'm not just because I'm a member doesn't mean I'm gonna. And I wasn't just a member. I was elected onto the LGC, which is the local government committee, which was responsible for creating policy for the wider West Midlands Party. I also used to sit on a panel with 2 other people to interview anyone in West Midlands who wanted to be a Labour councillor. And I've also been an election agent, so I always had a role. And even though I had a role, and even though I was offered many, many seats, I was offered, do you want, Ward End? Do you want this? Do you want that? And I'd always said no, because I always felt like I'd rather be behind the scenes where I can be clear of my intentions and know that I'm doing it because I want to make a change, because I want to better the lives of people, and because I know that this can have the most impact, than come out to the fore. And then at that point, can you really guarantee what your intentions are? Are you doing it for yourself, or are you doing it for other people, right? You can't be sure of that. But then here I am, but I'm here because you reach a point where it becomes a duty. It becomes a duty. Yeah. If you have the ability to represent your people, speak for your people, and when I say people, before anybody comes at me, I mean the people of Alum Rock, right? The working class communities. If you have the ability to advocate for them, to ask for resources for them, to ask for funding for them, to raise your voice and to represent them in a way that they haven't thus far been represented, and you don't use that waiting for someone else to do it, you're doing everyone a disservice, and you have a duty. And so I do this because I feel like I have a duty to do it.
Brilliant. So with your, obviously, with your appearance, with your line, and obviously you're female as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, must be difficult with family life and everything else, trying to juggle everything.
Yeah.
How have your family been?
My family are amazing, honestly. Just last night we had a meeting at my mum's house, and my mum was there making samosas in the kitchen and making the tea, and my son's bringing everything out, and I'm there surrounded by 30 uncles sitting in a room, just me on my own. And they're like, but that we're going to do this, but then we've got to do it. And they've just been fantastic. Yeah. Everybody's been fantastic, with helping out with the kids and school drop-offs. And, my mum's like, should we go get you do you want to get some new, smocks? You have to dress the part, right?
Yeah.
Should we go shopping? I'll get you some clothes and I'll do this. And just in any way that they feel that they can help in their capacity. Because not all of them are politically inclined, right? So if they can cook me dinner and drop it off, so I don't have to cook.
That's it a bit.
They'll do that. My mum will take me shopping and say, my auntie will drop me my groceries off, because she's like, when was the last time? She'll come to my house and she's like, what's going on, Nosheen? The fridge is empty. And I'm like, who has the time?
Yeah, running around too much.
Who has the time? Yeah. In any capacity that they can, so supportive. Because you wouldn't think that. You wouldn't think in a city, Alum Rock, you have all these ideas, right? People have all these misconceptions or preconceptions or stereotypes of, well, you're a Pakistani woman, hijabi, Muslim from a Kashmiri community. What
are you doing?
Who's backing you?
Yeah, exactly.
Has your dad not told you to sit at home? No, actually, he's out door knocking on me. He's calling me saying, hurry up. Where are you?
We're losing daylight hours.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's been fantastic.
This run-up, though, you mentioned before, so it started last July.
Yeah.
Is it normally that long?
No. I just wanted to make sure I had my foot in the door.
Yeah.
And everyone knew.
Yeah, that's it. Well,
I thought before anyone else decides they're going to throw their hat in the ring.
Yeah. And when you talk about the hat in the ring, isn't the ring getting a bit crowded this year?
The ring's very big.
Yeah.
It's an interesting ring, is what it is. So there is a lot. But look, that's the beauty of the democratic process. It's wonderful that people feel impassioned, emboldened, and feel like they have a space at the table. Everyone should have a space at the table. Yeah. It's for the people to decide who sits at the table. Yeah. But everyone deserves a chance, and everyone deserves a shot. I think it's wonderful. It makes it a bit interesting.
Yeah, I was going to say, it makes it a bit more interesting.
It makes it interesting.
A few more different characters.
But it's fun and games. Yeah. You're not going to enjoy it, Kamran.
Yeah.
I'm having the time of my life. I really am.
Awesome. But why do you think that is? Because obviously you touched upon it at the start. Why now?
There's a massive amount of disillusionment amongst people when it comes to the Labour Party. Yeah. And that's the long of it and the short of it. The Labour Party have had a stronghold over Birmingham for a very, very long time. The Labour Party have had a particular stronghold since the Kashmiri diaspora arrived in Birmingham over our communities. And the Labour Party have let people down. And they've let people down locally. They've let people down nationally. And they've let people down when it comes to geopolitical issues. And when you have that trifecta, what you get is what's happening in Birmingham right now.
Yeah.
I was saying this to someone the other day. I know there's a lot of talk about independence, right? But it's not just independence, because we've got the Green Party. We've got reform. The Green Party is catering to a certain demographic who feel a certain way about things. Reform is catering to a certain demographic. Independents are catering to a certain demographic. But the overarching theme is the same. And that is that people have had enough of Labour and need an alternative. And that alternative for some is independence, for some is the Greens, and for some is reform.
Yeah. Like I said, democracy. Take a choice.
Take your pick.
It. Yeah. Okay. So with you being an independent, are you aligned at all with any of the other candidates?
No. So I know there's a little bit of confusion, and people do think because they see me in videos with Ahmed Yaqub and stuff. So I'm new to public-facing politics. Not new to politics, but new to public-facing politics. I'm running a election campaign for the first time ever. And as someone who people might not know, there's people who within politics know me. The Labour Party know me very well. But people outside on the street, they know me for my community work, but they don't know my political work, right?
Yeah.
And so I will take endorsements from wherever they come. Your party have endorsed me as a community independent. Ahmed Yaqub has endorsed me. Community activists and leaders have endorsed me. Ahmed Yaqub wants to lend his support, and I will take that because we have a common goal, and that common goal is to get rid of the Labour Party. Basically.
Yeah.
And does that mean I agree with Ahmed on absolutely everything? No, Ahmed is a brother to me. I really, we get on. But do I agree with all of his politics? Probably not. No. Do we see eye to eye on all issues? Probably not. Does that mean we are now at loggerheads and are not going to support each other? No, that isn't. Forming, I don't want to use the word alliances before somebody says independent candidate alliance. No, just for the record, no, I'm not part of the independent candidate alliance. But forming kind of understandings is par for the course in politics, happens all the way in the upper echelons of power, all the way down to local authority and local politics. You compromise because you have a common goal and you sit around the table. Lib Dems and Conservatives are a perfect example.
Yeah, of course.
Well, is that a coalition anyone could ever have dreamt of? No, but they came together because there was a common goal. The common goal here is to get rid of the Labour Party, and I will work with anyone who wants to work with me to do that. Apart from reform, for the record.
Yeah. I wonder why.
Probably because I want to send me back.
Yeah,
have you had a look at my comments?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's it, I was going to say. Yeah. So since you've been part of this process and you've become part of the public-facing politics, how have things changed in terms of like the comments and everything else you've been getting?
Day to day, nothing's changed.
Yeah.
Still a mum, still come home, still have to wash the uniform, still have to feed the kids, still have to hear, you haven't taken this anywhere, haven't done anything.
Yeah.
All of that's fine. But in terms of the rhetoric that's being spewed by certain politically inclined people, it's been disgusting. I was doxxed online, my address put out, all my details put out. I don't know how they got their hands.
Really?
Yeah. But luckily, I'm a very, very thick-skinned woman. I've seen a lot of life. I've lived a lot of... I'm from Alum Rock.
Yeah.
I water off a duck's back. It's relentless, don't get me wrong. But I find it hilarious. And I go back home. I'm like, where am I supposed to go? Where are you sending me? I saw a reform for Alum Rock. I saw a reform for Alum Rock post the other day. It's a troll account. It's not a real reform account.
I was gonna say.
And they were like Nosheen Khalid with her a £500,000 house in Solihull on Ahmed Yaqub's payroll. I was like, first of all, tell Ahmed to pay me if I'm on his payroll because I haven't seen a penny. Okay, send me the address to the house. I don't know where it is. I'd love to go see it. Like, people say all kinds of things, but I don't care. I know who I am. I'm not insecure about who I am. I don't need to be told by other people who I am. You can say whatever you want about me. Like, I get personal comments about how I look. I get comments about my hijab. I get comments about the fact that I don't belong here, that we're taking over. What exactly are we taking over? We're engaging in the democratic process. If that's not British values, what is?
Exactly. That's what they're trying to spread around the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course. So
in very interesting ways.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, we won't get into that. But so the run-ups, is nearly over.
Yeah.
So tomorrow you wake up, you've won. Labour are out.
Gulab jamans all around.
Yeah, inshallah. What's the changes that you feel that your community and the wider Birmingham need?
Do you know, I can sit here and wax lyrical about all the things I want to change in Alum Rock and all the things, and, you know, I'll bring my leaflet and put it up and all my promises on there. But it's and right before I came here, I was on Edmund Road with a resident in Alum Rock. And he was talking about, you know, what we need. And he said something that I've been saying so often, but it's so true, and it's so basic. It's so incredibly basic. And actually, it's such a shame that this is how basic the level of desire for change in Alum Rock is. He said, we just want representation. I said competent representation. He said, it doesn't even need to be competent. He said, it just needs to be representation, because we haven't had it. We haven't had anyone stand up and say, I'm representing Alum Rock. I want this for Alum Rock.
This is what we need, yeah. For the people.
So what I will promise, and what I know I will deliver on, is I'll be on the ground. I'll be present. I'll be accountable. And I will make sure that in that council chamber, every time I speak for the residents of Alum Rock.
Mm. And what are the current hot topics? What have you heard the most when you've been door knocking? And
parking is like, oh my God.
Yeah, parking's a big one, isn't it?
Parking is, every single thing that is an issue in Alum Rock is a symptom of something, right? Yeah. The issue with residents parking is because most of the people that complain about the parking issues are the ones whose streets come off the main Alum Rock High Street.
Yeah.
The main Alum Rock High Street is one of the busiest high streets.
And the parking tickets central.
And the parking tickets are crazy. There is no car park.
Yeah.
There's no car park. Not a car park that will serve the needs of the high street. You know, the Alum Rock Traders Association, headed up by Uncle Ashig, had asked, when Liam Byrne was the MP before the ward boundary changes, had asked for for the plot of land on Adley Road to be sold, and they would band together, put the money together and purchase that plot of land from Birmingham City Council to turn it into a car park for the people that come and shop on Alum Rock Road. Mm. Instead, they sold it to a private investor who's turning it into a food park opposite houses.
Yeah.
How do you justify that? Mm. Where were our councillors? Because any time a plot of land that belongs to the council is sold in a ward, the ward councillors are made aware, and the ward councillors have an opportunity to make representations on behalf of the residents. Instead, what's happened is the council, they reached out to me after reaching out to their councillor, their Labour councillor, multiple times and hearing nothing back. They reached out to me. At this stage, I'm just a resident. Inshallah, come May 8th, I'll be a councillor. But right now, I'm just a resident. Yeah. And they reached out to me and they said, please help us. What do? We can't have this here. The antisocial behaviour, the rats, the noise pollution, the litter. It's going to be too much. We've been living here our entire lives. And so I put a petition together. Well, they put a petition together, and I submitted it to full council with them. That Labour councillor picked up that petition back in October, and she still hasn't submitted it to full council.
Really?
Yeah. Because she keeps telling him there's no active planning application to submit it, to attach it to. A petition does not need to be attached to anything for it to hold weight. And I drove past there today. Well, I drive past it every day. They've got the signs up for Rock Park. They've got the trailers in, and it's ready to go. And so they're going to retrospectively enforce. They've got an illegal dropped curb. Clipston Road had illegal dropped curbs, and they came and put them up and fined people £7,000. So residential, you can't.
That's awful.
What's going on? Why is enforcement retrospective? We all know. You're in the business world. You know. Yeah. Once there's a running business that can prove that it's benefiting the local economy, that can prove that it's hiring people from the local area, especially an area like ours that doesn't have, has high levels of unemployment, they're going to push that through. Yeah. The application is going to get approved.
And that's why they've done it that way.
And that's why they've done it that way.
Just build it and then we'll get it done afterwards.
Build it and we'll get it.
Yeah.
Where was the enforcement? I was told, council officers came out and they so what does that mean? They had a little meeting on site. Okay. And? Yeah. Don't pull the wool over people's eyes and think they're stupid. Nobody's stupid. Everybody's aware that you're not doing the work because you're just not doing it. Yeah. You've never done it. You've never been present. It's just not enough. It's not enough and it's not okay. You can't take people for granted like this. You can't strip an area of resources. You cannot allow people to live through things that you wouldn't live through yourself and then call yourself a representative of that area, because that's all that councillors are. We're representative. We're not leaders. We're there to represent the people of Alum Rock. If you are not listening, not responding to emails, I went to a masjid the other day where I was invited to speak to the congregation, and I can't remember what his position was, but he's like chairperson or something of the masjid. He's been blocked by the councillor. Come on, Cameron. If you're going to come into this field and you haven't got a thick skin and you can't deal with people, legitimate criticism or asking you to do stuff for them, then find something else to do.
Yeah.
This is not the job for you.
100% agreed.
To
be honest, I have to admit, I had a bit of a dig at Majid Mahmood over
right.
the new speed
Did you
limit
get
he's
blocked
enforced. Yeah, I got blocked too. So,
unless it's abuse.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Unless it's
Doesn't
abuse.
matter, yeah.
I mean, I don't even block the abuse.
Yeah.
I'm like, go have a field day in my comments. Get all your frustration out. Look, all this is, or the reform and all of that, you've got to have a scapegoat. You've got to have someone who's going to be the reason why your life is not good right now.
Yeah.
And because the government are not going to take the blame, it's going to, who is it now? Who's the bogeyman currently? It's the brown people and the Muslim, the boat people, right? The ones that came over and taken over and absolutely drained our, benefit system and done this, and look at them all in 5-star hotels. I've been in these hotels. They're not 5-star hotels.
Yeah, I have too. And
they're not 5-star hotels. They've got nowhere to cook.
Yeah.
They're giving them sandwiches and food because they're not letting them cook. They're living in cramped, tiny little rooms with nowhere to wash their clothes. And, if a family's in there, it's 2 bunk beds and a fridge. If you're homeless, that's what you're getting. And you're getting spot checks to make sure that you haven't accidentally snuck in an air fryer. God forbid you feed your kids fish fingers, Yeah. It's no way to live. And we're not the problem. The problem is the systematic stripping away of resources, of the safety net that was what made Britain what it is, of allowing people to have, the most basic of needs, a home to live in, hot water, food, a basic education, a basic health service. You strip away funding from the NHS and don't have enough doctors. You don't give GPs, you don't allow people to become GPs or doctors, or you don't have enough contracts once they've completed medical school. And so instead you're investing money into independent prescribers or pharmacist prescribers, whatever they're called. And you'd rather pay for that. They are not qualified to diagnose. A 2-year course does not make them qualified to be the first port of call. Health outcomes are deteriorating because of this. I know firsthand. I saw a pharmacist prescriber for my asthma, and he gave me 2 bouts of steroids within 1 month. You can't do that. I know that because I can advocate for myself. I know that because I've had asthma since I was small. What about someone who can't speak English and isn't aware of what they can and can't do? I went to I got referred to a consultant and an asthma specialist, and she said, what has he been doing? What have they been doing?
Who did that?
We could have fixed this 6 months ago. Why have you been going back and forth and basically guinea pig, throwing every medicine you can imagine at me? But what about the people that can't advocate for themselves? I asked to be referred to a consultant because I knew he wasn't doing what was needed. So when you do that, and there's social housing has not been built at the rate that the need is. And the need is not because of people coming over on boats. The need is because of the population. The need is because of the cost of living.
Pre-existing, yeah.
Yeah. The need is because of the cost of living, because you can't now have, for example, a single parent family where one person, a mother, is working a full-time job. She can't pay her bills or her rent. She's on universal credit not because she's lazy, but because she needs the money in order to survive.
Yeah.
Not, I'm going out and going on nice holidays because I get money from the government. No, that money is used to survive. And that is because of the fact that wages don't match the cost of living. They haven't risen. The UK is the worst for wages. Minimum wage doesn't cut it anymore. And if you put all of these things together, and then you've got lack of youth services, got underfunding in our schools. Kids are not getting the education that they need to go on to where they need to go on to. The rise in university fees. I know the Labour Party like to point at the Tory Lib Dem coalition, but actually they were the ones that introduced university fees. So you can't make, I'm not going to say I don't blame restore and reform and all of that, because
why they've come about and what,
because
they're following.
use your brain, right? But also at the same time, they're being fed this narrative from all sides, from politicians who push hateful rhetoric down people's throats. You know, our Home Secretary has no qualms in making brown people or people who come over on boats the villains, stopping student visas at a moment's notice from countries. These are real people with real lives, with real aspirations, who've worked very hard to get to where they are, and you're going to just suddenly strip it away like that because you've decided that they're a problem. There are ways and means to do things, you know? And so when you have this kind of hateful bubble that's been created where this, we are the other, we are the problem, we're scrounging, and we're this and we're that, and then of course they're going to hate us. And they're not going to look at the government and say, actually, the government is the reason why my kid can't get a school space. The government is the reason why I can't, the council housing list is so long. The government is the reason why I can't afford to heat my house. The government is the reason why sewage is being pumped into our rivers and our seas.
Bins aren't being picked up.
Bins aren't being picked up. Of
course.
Right?
A big point.
It's these dirty people. So.
And really, it's a system collapsing in around on itself.
It's a system collapsing. Yeah. It's collapsed.
Yeah.
We are in the middle of complete collapse. And that's why there's independence, and that's why there's Greens, and that's why there's reform.
It's all happening.
And that's why it's all happening.
Yeah.
And that's why we are where we are.
But do you believe, like, once you get in, and things are changing, does Birmingham City Council, do they have the budget to do all this stuff?
So they've been given a healthy budget now, right? The question is, and then what they keep saying is, oh, well, these independents won't know what to do. Well, actually, we have plenty of examples of independents banding together and bringing about change. We've got the Bradford Independents, we've got the Warsaw Community Independents, Enfield Community Independents. We've got lots of areas where independents have a majority, a large amount of independents in the council who work, excuse me, very well together. The Bradford Independents brought about release from, of dead bodies from the coroner, like that. They sped up the whole process by banding together and lobbying and making it work.
Getting changes done.
Getting changes in place. And independents can do that. They can do that. This idea that reform will come in if you don't vote Labour is scaremongering. This is only the rhetoric of people who have no portfolio to speak of. They can't come and show you the work they've done. So what they'll do instead is scare you and tell you, we're talking about local issues here. We're not talking about national government. This is a local election for local politics.
Yeah.
This is a ward by ward basis. You choose the person that's best going to represent your ward. Okay? This is going to be a hung council either way. Labour are going to lose seats either way. You cannot claw onto power by scaring people because you don't want to lose.
Well, you can try.
You could try.
Yeah, and they are.
You can try. You can try.
But I think people can see through it, and with you, it's been absolutely for us, normal, people in the community. It's been quite entertaining, to watch the last. I bet.
I love it. I love sitting in a room with all the uncles and they're all going off, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm in my element. Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
But no, it's been very entertaining. Season of campaigning for everyone. Yeah, and. You must have done quite a few of these podcasts and interviews now.
Yeah, I have.
So you've been under the spotlight a lot. But no, it's I was trying to think, there's so much that you just went through then.
I'm sorry.
No,
I
brilliant. No, what do you mean? No, I didn't need to. You said so much, but you said so many of the questions were covered. But the bin strike.
Yeah.
How is that going to be resolved? Because it seems to be a big ego.
By sitting around the table, Cameron. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as sitting down and having a conversation. You can't keep saying bin strikes, unite. Have you sat down with Unite? When was the last time Unite sat down with Birmingham City Council?
They're all throwing the strop, haven't they? And they're all riding on their egos.
Well, supposedly now John Cotton said we were willing to sit down with you guys, but they've been willing to sit down for a long time. They've been saying, come around the table, let's have the conversation. £33.5 million up to March it was.
Spent.
Yeah.
In this
lost
turmoil.
Because of not having recycling collections, not having bulky waste collections, the mobile house waste recycling centres, paying the workers, agency workers. It's a lot of money. Yeah. That's a lot of money. Unnecessary.
And that, what was their total cost in Birmingham City Council to even gives them the pay
I don't know that
rises.
number, but it was like they were asking for 8,000 each.
Yeah.
And there wasn't that many of them, whatever the maths on that is. But come on.
So
The
they
cost
just
of it is more.
burn a lot of
They've burnt a lot of money.
our money,
and you know,
basically.
and now they're coming out with, we're going to have food collections, we're investing into our parks, and we're investing into our youth centres, and we're bringing frontline services back. If you look at the budget, first of all, the budget was only passed with those amendments to bring frontline services because Lib Dems put those amendments in. The Labour Party did not. The reason why it didn't pass the first time is because the Lib Dems wanted these amendments in. But secondly, if you look where they're allocating that money from, it's from the council tax increase.
Yeah.
So we're paying directly for these frontline services. 22% over 3 years, the council tax has risen. That's criminal. That's unjustifiable, especially given the complete lack of services that have been during that time.
And what about the oversight of the spend? Because that's a big complaint. I hear all the time in the business community. It's like, yeah, they've got the money. They're putting more houses up. They're putting more flats up.
Did they have to be bankrupt? Did they have to declare bankruptcy? You know, if you look at what the academics are saying, no, they didn't. That was a choice they made. Seems a bit like a cop-out, to be honest with you. You know, and if we look at Oracle, for one, that was an absolute shambles. The Athletes Village.
Yeah.
Look at the places where money has been poured into. But what's happened as a result of it? You know, you can say, oh, these people look how much we're having to pay for fly tipping. Look how much we're having to pay to get these waste recycling centres. Well, actually, how much did you lot just absolutely waste on vanity projects that came to nothing?
Yeah.
Came to absolutely nothing. And then declared bankruptcy. And who suffered? We suffered.
With our 20% increase over 3 years.
Oh, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Wow. And what about I touched on it before, but the thing that affects me daily on my driving in and out, because you don't drive yourself, do
I don't
you?
drive, no.
So you don't get, well, you probably get the frustration as a passenger even.
I'm asleep in the back of the Uber. That's the only time I'm resting.
So you take the rest time.
Yeah.
But the 30 mile an hour limits, they seem to be, they're very, people are very annoyed about them.
People are very annoyed.
And is that just a big vanity project?
I mean, what can I say? All I remember is when we were in school, we were told that we had these demonstrations that used to come in. This is what happens if a car hits you at 40 miles an hour. This is what happens if a car hits you at... Do you remember those?
Yeah.
Do they do them at school anymore? I don't know if they do. But I remember those, so I can see the benefit from that. But actually, they're not done. They're doing on dual carriageways where there are no pedestrians, right?
Exactly.
And there's all these cameras that have been invested into, and supposedly these AI cameras that then catch you doing other things using your phone. So is it a money-making scheme? I don't know.
I think it is.
Well, I'll let you answer that one.
Yeah. So I think it is. And I think it's... you mentioned vanity projects.
Yeah.
I think it's certain councillors trying to make a name for themselves, but I think it's kind of backfired on them a little bit.
I feel like when I speak on a ward level, but let's talk Birmingham level wide, right? When a city has been fed deprivation in the way that Birmingham has, when a city has been stripped of resources in a way that Birmingham has, when the most basic thing like bins aren't being collected, when we have rubbish on every street corner, when there are no youth services to speak of, for me, budgets are a moral statement, okay? Because they're indicative of what a group or a party or a council thinks is important and what they think isn't important. And one of the first things that were cut were youth services to claw back money. 2.3 million was cut from youth services, right? So you're saying, actually, the future of the city is not important. We don't really care about the kids, right? So when you look at things like that, and then you look at Birmingham wide at the deprivation, and then you start enforcing when basic resources are not in place, it's not going to be pretty, okay? You cannot come down with an iron fist on a group of people who don't have the most basic of resources in place in the first place, right?
Yeah.
Before you start enforcement, you make sure that the bottom line is clear.
Yeah, of course.
You make sure that bins are being collected. You make sure that children are going to school for 5 days and not 4.5 days. You make sure that people have youth services. You make sure that elderly people have places that they can go to. You make sure that all of these things are in place. You make sure that in certain areas like mine, like Alum Rock, 2,500 patients per GP as opposed to the recommended 1,800. You make sure that, okay, fine, that's a national level policy, national level issues. What are you doing on a local level to buffer that? Nothing. Are you introducing well-being sessions? Are you introducing awareness sessions? Are you encouraging lifestyle changes? You're bringing around, like, maybe giving out bikes in schools and things?
Nah, we just stick our cameras to fine you for going 32 miles an hour.
So then, if you look at what's important, and you look at what's being done, does it align?
No.
No, it doesn't. So then, do we have to question as the intentions behind why certain things are being done? Yes. Do we have to ask what this says about this council and what's important to them? Yes. And then the public can decide what that means.
And I think they will come May 7th.
I hope so.
And I think it will be...
I hope so.
A bit of a landslide, that's my prediction anyway, in the opposite direction for Labour, wherever they may end.
Labour are not going to do very well.
No,
whoever does do well is to be seen.
Yeah,
but it's not going to be Labour.
Where them balls are going to land.
Yeah,
you know.
Hopefully, I get a couple.
Yeah. I'm sure you will.
Glad to win.
Yeah. No, brilliant. So, what's the future for after everything going well? You become a councillor. 4-year stint, isn't it?
Yeah.
As a councillor. So, what's next? What's your aspirations?
So I haven't thought beyond that. No. I'm concentrating purely on this election. I got a call from a resident the other day. It's quite funny actually because he refused to tell me what his name was or where he got my number. But actually, at this point, the whole of Alum Rock has my number.
Yeah.
he called me and he said, "Look, Nosheen, you don't know me." I was like, "Yes, I don't know you. Yes, you're right. You don't know me. Sorry for calling at 10 o'clock at night. This really inappropriate hour." I was like, "This is actually a more appropriate time because I get called at 1 in the morning. I get called at 1 in the morning." I said, and 7 in the morning. I said, this is actually a very social hour that you're calling me. It's like, but I need you to understand that we're with you. And I said, I don't know where we are, but okay. He goes, we can't have this Labour councillor anymore.
Can't keep going like this.
He said, look, we cannot. He goes, it doesn't, and this is a direct quote. People probably think I'm making it up, but it's a direct quote. He said, it doesn't bear thinking about another 4 years with this particular councillor. Because if the last 14 are anything to go by, it's not going to be pretty. And people are fed up, Cameron.
Yeah.
And I know it sounds very dramatic, but actually I don't think people understand that having inadequate representation has a real lived effect on people's lives.
Yeah, of course.
And I think people just think, oh, well, you're being a council, what are you going to do? You're going to take some photos? I don't take photos for a start. If you look at my TikTok, it's the driest thing on the planet because I absolutely hate it. Yeah. I'm so keen on ensuring that my intention is to help people, that even when I do take the photos and the videos, because when you go out, people are like, take the photo, take the video, they're just in my camera roll and I won't post them because I want to make sure I'm doing it for the right reasons and I'm not doing it because I want to become a social media celebrity.
Community leader.
God forbid, community leader. Yeah. Can we come and take a picture of me, put a heart around my neck? Yeah. Although I would like one of those if I win. I think it would be quite cool. Yeah, like a little tinsel one.
When you win, yeah.
When I win,
not just when you rock up.
Like a little tinsel one.
Yeah.
Stick a gulab jamun in my mouth to take a photo.
That's it. Brilliant. I'm sure your uncles will and your mum will.
My mum will.
Your mum will?
No. My mum's like, all right. She'll just be like, yeah, well done. I'm busy.
Yeah. Brilliant. So the one topic I want to ask you about, HMOs. Because from my perspective, from a business perspective and property perspective, we're talking about cost of living. People can't afford, whole units. They can't afford apartments. They can't afford houses. Yeah. So HMOs are a good starter property for, new workers, new couples, professional HMOs. But obviously HMOs are being kind of used in a different way. It's called antisocial behaviour.
Regulated HMOs, fine.
Yeah.
No worries. Regulating the people that are living in the HMOs, fine. When you have a transient population and when you have illegal HMOs, and when you have them at the volume that you have in areas like Alum Rock, you're changing the very fabric of the community. Not only are you changing the fabric of the community, but you're also introducing aspects of antisocial behaviour that hadn't previously been there.
Well, there's 4 cars instead of 2.
But also we have St. Peter's College where this is social housing, which is right next to the school. 2 people from there, we all know what happened there. right? And I'm not saying murders don't take place and crime doesn't take place. But when you have the volume that you have in Alum Rock at this moment in time, questions have to be asked as to what is acceptable and what isn't. How much should people put up with and how much shouldn't they? The fact is, in a dream world, we'd have affordable social housing and we'd have some kind of rent control. And I know that's not very popular within the business world, but actually basic human needs are more important than anything else. Right, and that is my opinion. And
it's hard, isn't it? Because you're on either side of it. Because landlords aren't necessarily greedy. The mortgage rates have gone up.
Yeah.
Property, the costs of running.
But then wages aren't matching that.
Yeah, of course.
Wages
and then
aren't matching
hence
that.
More social housing required.
Council taxes are through the roof.
HMOs needed.
And HMO, and fine. But they must be regulated. They must meet certain standards. People living in highly densely populated residential areas must be vetted. Okay? I understand there is a need for people who are coming out of prison, people who have mental health, people have all of these issues, but you cannot house people to the detriment of the people that are already living there. Everybody deserves good, clean housing. Prisoners, people who've just come out of prison, people who are suffering from whatever they are suffering from, people who are asylum seekers. Everybody deserves to have community, have good, safe housing, and have a sense of belonging. But people who already live in communities also deserve that.
They get the priority.
I don't know about priority, but you can't benefit one person at the cost of another. You can't. And illegal and unregulated HMOs do lead to greedy landlords and kind of a transient population being brought into a community.
It's an interesting topic.
It is.
I don't think, because it's such a hard balance, isn't it?
It's a really hard balance, and I understand that landlords, are only catering to the need,
the demand,
and I understand that there is they are also responding to their financial kind of situations and the pull on that. But at the same time, I promise to represent the people of Alum Rock, and HMOs are a real gripe for the people of Alum Rock. And so where they need me to, I will raise my voice on them. Yeah.
Brilliant. So I think that's we've grilled you for long enough. I think it's been a really, really good session. Yeah. Thank you so much again for attending.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
Best of luck on
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. Inshallah, I'll come back as a counsellor.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Definitely. Hopefully, I can still ring you at that time. And
you can definitely ring me. Definitely.
Brilliant.
Thank you so much, Cameron.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Take care. Hi everyone. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Morgan Reach TV. Please subscribe to their channel. They're doing absolutely fantastic work in giving a voice to all of us who are contesting the elections, and I'm sure they're going to have lots of fantastic guests on, so please subscribe and follow.
Hi, thanks very much for watching today's episode. I hope you found that as entertaining and as informative as we did. We wish Nosheen and the other candidates best of luck on May 7th elections. Please do tune in to Morgan Reach TV for more episodes and more guests coming up soon.